We now move on to our In Focus segment, and this time I am glad we have some wonderful person that we've been talking with for quite a while now, and that will be Mr. Shane Lowe from Supersense. Shane, come on, man, come in here and tell us about Supersense, what's going on, and all of that good stuff. You guys got a lot of things going on, and I am excited that you are with us here today and talking about Supersense and all that's been developed ever since we had you the last time. Well, Shane, welcome back to Blind
It's
Android
so good to
Users
be here,
Podcast,
man. It's
man.
so good to this is, I really remember this show. Like the first time that I was here, like it was just so much fun to the energy was so welcoming and open, and it was just so much fun just to sit down and have this conversation the last time. So I'm really excited for this conversation, round number 2. This is going to be great.
Great. So now, since the last time we had you, we talked about some things that were coming into SuperSense and all of that. And then you were talking about the sales that you guys were going to be having. And I think that thing was supposed to come like during the Easter. Somehow something happened. I guess the crucifixion or something kind of bumped it out of the way, and we didn't have that sales.
So
And then you
the
guys,
when
you
yeah,
guys,
when we spoke last, we didn't have a date for the sale, so we were just talking about, all the
yeah.
holidays, Easter, it could be Easter, it could be Valentine's Day for all we know. I mean, the sale could be any day. It could be that, it could be, a quick 2-day event, or it could be a month and a half long event like we have going now. So it turns out that our marketing people decided that a summer sale from mid-June to the end of July would be the best option. So that's what we're going to do, man.
That
That's
makes
what's going to
sense.
happen.
That makes sense. And so we now have that sales going on, which is like a 40% off. Here
Yep.
in the US, that sets it to back down to $60 for those of you that haven't had a subscription to it. This is probably the best time to get it. Unless, of course, Shane puts in a little bit of some Haitian magic or something crazy like that and tweak it a little bit. And knock that baby down by $10 or whatever. But frankly, at $60, which is down from its original price of $100, and we're talking about lifetime subscription here, is not
Yes.
like an annual thing here. So, Shane, tell us what's going on with SuperSense and all of that sales and when it ends and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sale started on the 15th of June, and it's going to keep rolling through the 31st of July. So you've got until July 31st. At the time of recording, about 3 more weeks to be able to take advantage of it. And I'm already talking to our product team about the new stuff that we're going to be adding in SuperSense in coming in the fall and the winter. So now is actually a really good time to buy it, because you're getting, all of the stuff that SuperSense has currently, but we're recommitting now to adding more stuff that we've been talking about doing for a long time. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think, to put in stuff, because to me, like, the thing is, stuff stuff changes a lot more than I would like it to.
Yeah.
The last time I think I was here, the plan was to develop the column reader. I think that was our next thing. I was actually, the whole company, we were pretty sure that our column, this was, we spoke in February, right? Was that when I was
Yeah.
last here?
I think it
Yeah,
was.
the whole team was pretty sure that column reader would be released in March or April. Um, and then, we went into the testing phase, and we realized this isn't good enough yet, because if we want to release a feature to the public in SuperSense, we want it to be top notch, the highest quality that we could possibly get for you. So when we realized it wasn't enough in testing, by then it had been about 2 months since we put out a feature, and that's rare for us. We like to drop features pretty often. So we wanted to, while we were working on the column reader and improving it, we wanted to put something out that was a little more simple. So around that point, I don't know if I spoke about it last time, but we've got the magnifier in there. That's a new free feature for SuperSense. You can magnify anything that you would like. Also, when we started working on column reader, when it went back into development phase, we developed the scene describer as well to give people a new feature. And what I love about scene describer is that it lets you save pictures and describe those pictures to you. So you can take a picture of a space and the AI will describe that picture to you. And then you can save it and you know what's in the picture. So you can post it to social media. You can put it on, Twitter, your Instagram, whatever. You can send it to your mom. You can send it to your friends. I think of it as a way for us to, as blind people, to be able to take pictures, which I think is really neat. And so in terms of new features, that's really what we've been doing with Supersense. A lot of our development has been focused on a new app, opening ourselves up kind of more to the mainstream community, called Readbit, the new app that we just put out a couple of days ago, to the public. And Readbit is cool because, our first two apps, Supersense, Super LiDAR, totally blindness focused. And that's great. Like, we've been having a ton of fun on that. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not even going to slow down doing that. But we also wanted to drop a new app called Readbit, which is short for Read Rabbit, by the way, which I really like the name of Read Rabbit. That's for sighted people as well. So blind people can use it, of course, but it's geared towards sighted people because it's focused on text to speech. So as blind people, we're really familiar with that. Everything that we read, if we don't have enough vision, is text converted to speech. But a lot of sighted people actually don't even think of that as an option sometimes. They just forget that happens. So you come across these cases as a sighted person where you want to read a lot of stuff, or you need to read a lot of stuff, but you don't want to. It's a strain on the eyes, or, it's been a long day already, or whatever. So you can scan the text and it will read it to you in TTS. The other cool benefits of that are that you can save that audio, you can save that TTS into a file. So you can save it as MP3 or, whatever you want, and then put it on the cloud or export it however you'd like. And then what's really unique about it as well is the summarizer. So if you don't want to read the whole thing, Readbit will just summarize what you're reading for you, so that you can get the key points without reading, all sometimes 100 pages.
So, Shane, you talked about the column reader and all of that. And on our site, that's our mailing list, our subscribers have been talking about comparing, the Supersense with Envision and other OCR packages. Of course, our last week's episode was all about that. No, not our last week, last 2 weeks. That's our episode number 29 was all about that OCR package. And we made a comparison of those things. And some of the criteria that we looked at, most especially that we thought are important, have to do with the fact that can X do offline recognition. And Supersense happens to be one of those that does offline recognition, right?
In certain features, yes. So the document reader, which is the most accurate, you do need a connection for. And the reason for that is because when we went in to develop the AI that's going to be able to scan this text, it is super processor heavy. So it's so CPU intensive that if we were to actually load that onto your phone, the app would A, take up a lot of space, and B, run really slowly. So to get that really accurate scan, it does have to send it up to the cloud. But we don't store any of that also. So people who are thinking about privacy and security, we don't store anything that you scan. So don't worry about that. But yeah, unfortunately, the document reader will require connection. But if you want to just use quick read, it's not doing any processing whatsoever. It's just spitting out whatever it sees back at you. So there's no connection, no hotspot, no Wi-Fi required there.
And that's what I discovered. And because I was running it on Android 12, Shane, probably something to look at. It kept crashing on my Android 12. And I don't remember. I think I had to resort to Android 11 to give it a fair shake, because it would be unfair to compare it, when it's not working right on Android 12 beta 2 at the time. And so on our mailing list, people have been talking about that and all of that. And so I'm glad that we're clarifying this, that this would require internet connectivity if you're going to do document scanning. And probably that's why it was crashing on my Android 12 because we were trying to see which ones actually do offline recognition. And so I we crowned the
Hopefully that wouldn't
lookout.
make it crash. If you don't have a connection, it shouldn't crash. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure. Um, from my perspective, I'd like to say, well, you're using a beta of Android, so it's still in beta, so that might be why it's crashing. But honestly,
Yeah,
it very well could be something on our end. So I'll
no.
absolutely make a note, and I'll send that over to the developers to take a look, and we'll see if there's anything on beta 2 for Android 12 that could be causing you issues, because we want to make sure
I
that
think
everything is
it's
working
coming
well for
from.
our Android people.
Yeah, I think it was coming from the Android beta 2 that it was having some problem with. And like I said, though, I had to switch back to Android 11 phone on Android 11 to give it a fair shake. And so we talked about that, and so we wound up crowning Lookout as the king because it does everything offline and based on the criteria that we were using. But then, of course, there are certain things that Supersense had going for it or has going for it that puts it elsewhere, rather than at the bottom. And so we kind of talked about that, and people, it could be very subjective. What I consider important to me may be not important to someone. But I think that another thing that Supersense has going for it, and I don't remember, I should have tried, I didn't have one handy. We didn't try the handwritten material. I thought it did. Now correct me if it whether it does or it doesn't, but I'd always had the impression that it does. Handwritten recognition, does it do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Um, the quality will vary, based on the quality of the handwriting, but it definitely reads handwritten material better than anything else that I've tried, at least. I haven't tried Lookout, unfortunately. I would really like to try Lookout, but I haven't tried it yet. But out of everything that I've tried, Supersense kills at handwriting. It's really, really good.
Yeah, you've got to try Lookout. In that way, you can see what the competition has. And so, like I said, there are only two that I know on Android. Well, there are some other ones, but I'm talking about the big ones that do handwritten recognition. That would be Supersense and you guys' rival Envision. So these are the two then that I know for a fact that do that handwritten recognition. And so it's good to have that. And my argument has always been the fact that, hey, just imagine that you're a student and sitting somewhere in a classroom, the teacher lets you capture that chalkboard or whatever. I think it comes in very handy. So it's something that is overlooked, but in reality, it's a
Oh, it's
very
true.
important feature to
Absolutely.
me. Yeah.
And the other thing I should mention is like we don't have handwriting listed as a feature. It does it automatically. So if you scan any handwriting with the document reader, it'll automatically recognize that it's handwriting and process it accordingly. So you don't have to select anything specific. It's automatically looking for handwriting for you just to save you that time.
That's right. And that's true with the other ones too. So we have this too. And I'm excited that we have it working that way and for people to be able to use. Now, uh, going back to the Read Rabbit or Readbit, this is something that you guys only have on the Fruitvale zone, the iOS. Shane, are you going to tell those boys to bring it to Android at some point? Because I think since
Of
it's for
course
the
I will.
sighted people as well, it makes sense that you
It
guys
does.
extend that to Android
I
as
mean,
well.
the majority of smartphone users in the world are Android users, so it only makes sense to put it on Android. I'm definitely going to be talking to those guys about putting it on Android because it's the logical thing to do.
Another plus, though, that we had for the SuperSense is the fact that certain things, even if you are not a paying member, for example, you still have access to things like the quick read and other functions as to the other competition, where after 7 days you're totally locked out. You can't even sniff the next pot of coffee that's next to you. So I think that's a huge plus for you guys, because if someone doesn't have the money to subscribe to whatever subscription model, they can still do some of the mundane things except for the document reader. And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Supersense also let one import PDF even if they are not a paying member?
Yeah, so if you're using the free version of Supersense, we didn't leave you out in the cold. You can use the quick reader. You can import photos and PDFs. You can use the magnifier, and then of course you have access to your read history as well. So it stores everything that you scan locally on your device. We don't have access to it; only you do. In case you know the app might crash, like on Android 12 Beta 2, or your phone dies or something like that. You can check it out. Anything that you've scanned, you can still save it and share it. It'll still be in your read history. So all that stuff is available even in the free version. If you want like the barcode reader, the document reader, currency, the entire Explorer screen, like the scene describer that I was talking about earlier, and all that stuff, that is what we ask people to pay for. And that's helpful to us because we need people to pay to help us keep up the servers and the costs that we take on to make sure that Supersense is working well.
Great. So I think it's a nice split, for someone that's, doesn't have money or whatever, can't afford it at the time, then, they can still use that and it comes in handy. And most especially if all that one is missing is just like the barcode reader, currency, and the document reader. But the general use is there for the main things. You want to do something really quick. You got that mail and you want to look at who's sending you that mail, or if that mail is yours. If you live with someone else, you want to make sure you're not opening someone else's mail. You want to check that. And even in my household, I do that, picking out those that belong to me so that I'm not tearing my wife's mail open, even though she wouldn't mind that. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
makes sense. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a surprise too. Like if you want to surprise your partner, you can't go through all the mail because then you'll open up the surprise and they'll get mad, and you'll get in trouble doing that, opening mail
Yeah.
that you're not expecting. You got to be
Uh,
careful.
yeah, things like that, it comes in handy, especially for me as a blind person. I always scan those packages to make sure that I'm opening that which belongs to me and not someone else. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. And a
definitely.
lot of times we've seen mail that, is supposed to go to our neighbors or whatever. And, we've seen that like, 5 or so different times, winding up in our mail. So definitely this is a lifesaver for any blind person sorting out their mail. And so now the Read Rabbit or Readbit, is that a paid app or what is it?
So Readbit has the majority of things that you would have to pay for Readbit are the premium voices. Actually, most of the features you get for free, depending on what voice you want. As I mentioned, Readbit's more geared toward the sighted audience. So a lot of the features that it has aren't super logical for blind users. A lot of blind users won't need the TTS translation, but the benefit there is if you do want that ability to save it as audio or summarize, which might be coming to Supersense. I mean, you never know. We might be putting those in Supersense later on so that you can have all of that rolled into one. So really, Readbit right now is Readbit just kind of stepped onto the field. It could go in any direction. We could do anything with it. So it's just really cool. Like, it's really exciting to see, like, okay, app number 3, like, we've got a team now. Like, we are experienced. We have a lot of knowledge about development, about marketing, about growth. Like, there's so much now that we know how to do. So it's just cool for us to have app number 3 in the ring. And, now we're just going to see how people take it and what people think about it. And from there, move forward based on feedback like we always do. We take what people want, and that's what we do.
I have some feedback regarding Supersense
Yeah,
and scene
please.
description, especially. So you said for the scene description, it will take the image first and then describe it. What I thought could be done is just how we use Google Camera on a Pixel device, and it says one face at the center of the screen with so and so, and then we take the photo. What if it describes the thing first and then we take the photo of that?
Yeah, you
It looks like a
absolutely
camera app.
you could do it. We could do it that way. The reason that we don't do it that way is because then it would always be processing. So, for example, the camera, the Google camera is primarily looking for faces, if I understand it right. So it's easy to track faces, but the scene describer is actually looking at the whole room. So um, it's looking for it's identifying furniture, it's identifying people and animals and the lighting conditions of the room and what the room looks like, any like patterns or designs. So it will, if it's doing that constantly, it'll drain your battery, and it'll just make your phone really hot. And it'll also be a lot of feedback. Like you'll be hearing a lot of feedback constantly as it's scanning. So that's why that's why you click the button to take the picture, and from there it'll describe it to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And also, you said in the beginning that there'll be some new features coming in the fall or winter. Could you give a little hint of what is coming out for Supersense at least?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna revisit the column reader in the fall for sure. We're also looking at a lot of translations. We're really excited to bring Supersense to more people speaking more languages. You know, we want to bring it out to a lot more of the European languages, for example. So we're working on lots of localizations. Um, Column reader in terms of features, but otherwise, I mean, it's an open book. We have some features in mind that we're kind of pushing around, but we haven't really decided officially yet. So if you
Yeah.
have feedback for features that you want, now's the time to throw them in.
Well, thank you so much, Shen. This has been wonderful. And again, like I said, we are so thankful that you were able to drop in by and chat with us today about
Absolutely.
Supersense, and that's the one that we're interested in. And
Yes.
hopefully, too, that you're there, you'll get those guys to bring Readbit to Android.
Absolutely. Can I tell you about one more thing before I go?
Oh,
Can I give
absolutely.
you one more piece of news? Supersense is sponsoring a concert next week on July 15th. That's a Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We have a free virtual concert happening, with some blind performers that are really, really good. Some performers from the Berklee College of Music in Massachusetts, and then also the headliner, Mr. Andy Timmons, who's a legendary guitar player. And we're going to have a seriously good time. So you can go to our website, supersense.app, to check all that stuff out, because I'm really excited. I'm putting on the show, and I've always wanted to organize a concert like this. So we've got Andy Timmons, we've got Question, the rapper and producer, we've got Precious Perez, my fiance, singer songwriter. We have just an incredible lineup. So check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. Wonderful news. And so for people to be able to get to that concert, they need to log on to supersense.app.
Yep.
Is that
You don't
something
need
that
an
they could?
account. You don't need to
Okay.
pay. You don't need an account. You don't need anything. You can just, on July 15th, you'll be able to click the link and just watch it right there. No setup required. Nothing.
And what time was it again, Shane?
It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern on July 15th.
So that's 4 p.m. Pacific,
Yes.
6 p.m. for those of you in
6
the Central
Central,
Time Zone. And
5 Mountain,
yeah, and if you're in
midnight
the
GMT, all that stuff.
UK, yeah, there you go. You're
Yep.
maybe midnight, and if you're in India, we're talking about 4:30 in the morning on the 16th. So, Austin, you want to make sure
Yeah,
you're up there for that concert, or I'll be fighting with you.
yeah.
It'll be
But
a
before
long
you,
show. So the show is long. So we want people in other time zones to be able to tune in. It'll be at least, it'll be several hours long. Each opener will be playing for about 15 minutes, and then Andy's got, a 90-minute set. So we'll be there for a long time. So if you're in India, you can wake up and have your breakfast with us. It'll be great.
Thank you so much. And one last thing about that concert, Shane.
Yeah.
Would that be archived, just in case someone was not able to
Yes.
join during the
It'll be
live
on our
thing?
YouTube channel. So you'll be able to
Okay.
watch it from our website, or you'll be able to search it on YouTube. It'll be called Supersense Presents Live. It'll have featuring Andy Timmons, Precious Perez, Question, etc. All of these incredible artists that we're going to be playing. So really, really excited. It's going to be streaming in high quality audio, high quality video. Everything is going to be totally live. No recording in advance or pre-recording and things like that. It's going to be completely live. You can send in your feedback through our social media, Supersense AI, and talk and make requests. And it's just going to be a great time. I'm seriously really excited for it.
Well, great. So, in other words, so people could go to that supersense.app or could actually even go to the YouTube and log on to you guys' YouTube channel and also be able to watch it from there, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Good. Well, thank you so much again, Shane. Let's go ahead and do this again one of these days. And this time, you're not going to be alone, but you're going to bring that squeeze of yours along, shall we?
Yeah, remind me. I'll bring her in. You'll see her on the concert next week. She'll be on the concert if you want to see Precious, my fiance.
She's got to come with you one of these days when we have you back on here.
Yeah, it'll be really fun actually to do that because she worked for this company before I did. That's how I got this job. She left. She had to leave, and then connected me with the company. So that would actually be really cool to do like a retrospective version to talk about how the company used to be and how it is now, to bring Precious on. So whenever you'd like us to come back, let me know.
Most especially if that column reader or whatever comes back to Supersense, or you guys work out all the kinks and all of that sometime in the fall or toward the end of the year, you just shoot me a little note, man, and I'll have you guys back on here with the pretty one. How about we?
That would be great. Let's do it. Thank you so much for all your kindness, all your support.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
You guys are incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, bro. Thank you so much. That has been a wonderful segment, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very nice interview. And if anyone wants to recap what happened previously, Shane had come to our podcast on episode 9. So we will have the we'll have the link for that interview from our YouTube channel in the show notes, so that if people want, they can go and listen to the previous interview so that they can see how the app has gone from the previous chat to this chat.
Great. Thank you for that, Austin.